This is the Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo, giving you the inside track on all the big talking points from Anfield.
A very good afternoon and welcome to the Blood Red podcast, brought to you by the Liverpool Echo. I'm your host, Richard Garnett, a journalist more versatile than an ambidextrous Joe Gomez. I'm joined today by some of the finest talent Reach PLC could muster.
Did you write that?
It just came into my head.
Down? Yeah.
An ambidextrous Joe Gomez, yeah. High levels of versatility.
Yeah.
I'm joined, as I said, before I was ambushed, I was joined by, or I will be joined today by some of Reach's finest talent, but that'll be after work. Until then, I'm joined by Ian Doyle. Ian, how are you doing today?
I am doing okay. I'm doing a lot better than Paul Gorst, our full-time Liverpool correspondent, both home and away, who is very much at home at the moment because he's done his back in.
Oh dear!
Yeah,
how has he done this? Is this bending down? He's very tall.
I think it's doing the school run, and he's hurt himself and getting back into the car or something, or reaching for something. And you have to be careful when you're reaching.
You certainly do, especially when you're a man of Gorsty's height.
Yes, and age.
And age, well, which catches up with all of us eventually, I'm sure you'll agree. Ian.
Yes.
Well, best of luck to Gorsty. Let's hope you're back on your feet soon. We've got a replacement for you, of course. Now, Brendan Rodgers did once claim he had the Welsh Xavi in his midst. We've got the Welsh Paul Gorst. Mark Jones.
I'll take that.
You take that?
With a better back. Yeah, I'll take it.
What's your close control like?
Better than Gorsty's right now. Yeah.
That's understandable. I'm sure he's watching
it's
this.
Not much of a claim, that is it?
It's true. All right, fair enough. Yeah.
He's probably got his feet up now. Do you think?
No, I definitely think he's not got his feet up. I believe that he's has to stand up at all times. And that's the issue.
Well, he might have to sit on one of those.
Can we go live? Can we go live? Can we get him on?
Yeah. We'll get him.
He might have to sit on one of those tyres. You know those ones. You kind of, if you can't sit. Or is that more for your backside? I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about. I suggest that we carry on.
Okay. Well, medical ailments aside, we'll move on. The international break is finished, thank the Lord. England have qualified for the World Cup. Well done. But let's get down to the real business of domestic football, and there is quite a big fixture, or at least it used to be, coming up this weekend where Liverpool take on old foes Manchester United, who unfortunately have fallen from their mighty perch. But let's not get carried away because Liverpool aren't in the greatest form themselves. Let's start with the most recent things, Ian. So you were at, obviously, without Gorsty, you were at Arne Slot's press conference this morning. How is he? How did it go?
He's tanned, I'd imagine. I think he's gone away somewhere during the international break for a little bit anyway. At least it looked like he did. It might have just been the lights. But, at least somebody got to have a rest during the international break, whereas we ploughed the... I was going to say a swear word then, but I won't anyway. But what's interesting for me, I'll go back to what
I'm just wondering
Slot said.
I'm just wondering which swear word would follow plough. To be honest,
it was a completely different phrase.
Okay.
But we'll go back to Slot in a minute. But I'm amazed. We've talked about this before in the office. It's just how little build-up there's been to this game, Liverpool United. And I understand that international break is part of it. I understand that Liverpool, lost 3 games going into the international break, and the amount of people reading stuff on our website would suggest that there's hardly a Liverpool fan in the entire world who wants to read about Liverpool at the moment or be interested in them. It'll be different when the game starts on Sunday, obviously, but there's been none of that. And even United have just, even though they won last time out against Sunderland, which seems like forever ago, they've just not really done a lot this season either. They're already out the League Cup and not even in Europe. So it's almost as though both sets of fans are kind of fearful of what's to come for very differing reasons. So going back to what Slot said, he was actually asked about the game specifically at some point during his press conference, but it wasn't really about that. It was more about the overall thing. He said, talking about these three defeats, he said, we've not been thinking about them. We haven't mentioned them, but I'd imagine everybody else has. It's all very well saying players can go away on international duty and forget about them, which a lot of them did. You look at the likes of Cody Gakpo, scored 3 goals, I think, for Holland. Salah helped Egypt qualify for the World Cup. Ekitike made his debut for France, full debut, I should say. And Isak, although Sweden are absolutely hopeless, he managed to get 290 minutes in. And one of the things that Slot then said was just because they weren't thinking about it, I'd imagine everybody here has been talking about it and thinking about it for 2 weeks, or rather trying not to think about it. Now, what he did say, though, about Isak is that because he's played those 2 games, it's been 6 weeks now since he arrived at Liverpool, and Slot basically said he's had his pre-season now. That's it. Now is the time for him to start. He said judged, but I think he didn't mean by the club or himself. He basically meant by us, people like us. Now is the time to fairly judge him, because now he's back at where he should have been when he first joined Liverpool.
You can assess him on a level playing field.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that was
basically
basically saying this is now the kind of, you can have a go now and have a look at what he's done and what he's supposed to be doing, because he's had the 6 weeks that everybody else would have had at the start of the season, before the start of the season. Sorry. So in terms of fitness, there's no worries. In terms of sharpness, there's no worries for Isak. The question now is how he's going to fit into a team, and how the rest of the other players are going to fit in around him, because as we've seen already this season, there's lots of things to be worked on for Liverpool. Another thing that Slot said was, he was talking about goals from open play and set pieces. It's his latest bee in his bonnet, isn't it? Certainly about the set pieces, saying that, look, we don't score from any at the moment. And by set pieces, he means corners and throw-ins. He doesn't necessarily, and free kicks in and around the area. It doesn't necessarily mean Szoboszlai's goal from 30 yards against Arsenal, which, while that was a set piece, that's a shot. It's not a set piece routine, is it? It's a bloke having a shot from miles out. That's a good piece of individual skill.
It's a dead ball wizardry.
Yeah. Rather than Arsenal putting, corners to the far post where somebody heads it back and Gabriel heads it in, that kind of thing, which is something that's been more worked on. So Liverpool, he says Liverpool fallen short on that, and he also said that last season, when we needed it, we either needed a set piece goal towards the end of last season or the second half of last season. At the start of the season, the first half, they were relying on moments of magic, special moments from players, whether it be Salah scoring a lot of goals, or Diaz doing something, or Núñez coming off the bench and doing something, or whoever it was, somebody up front was doing something to help get Liverpool over the line in games that were very, very narrow margins. And now, of course, they started the season like that, the special moments being goals in the last minute, but that's not sustainable. And we're seeing now that, you look at the Palace game, Canati should have scored from a header in the first half. And this has gone back 3 weeks now, isn't it?
Burnley as well.
Burnley as well. There's been games where they've had chances from set piece where they've not scored. And then they've had games like Chelsea away. I think it was Salah, wasn't it, had the chance? And there was one or two other chances where they're not putting them away, whereas at the first half of last season they were, which is why they were winning so many games. Was it 23 out of 27, I think, at the start of the season? So they only lost the one against Forest. So that seems to be the thing that's playing on his mind at the moment. And I'd imagine that's the thing he'll be trying to drum into the players is, look, you've got to be better from set pieces. And also you've got to start taking more of the chances, because he did point out, as funny enough, something that I wrote this week, that in terms of shots at goal, Liverpool are amongst the top in the Premier League still in terms of shots on target. They're amongst the top 2, top 3. But if you look at, without wishing to get all statty, the average distance of the shots that they're having, theirs is like almost 18 yards, which sounds like a lot. But City's, I think, is something like 15 and 16 and a bit, and Arsenal's is 15, which kind of suggests that Liverpool are having to try the look from range a bit more, because they're not getting the ball into the dangerous areas as often as they should be, because I think it's something like 6% or 5% of their goals come from inside the 6-yard box, whereas for most other teams it's like 20-30%.
Liverpool have changed their fullbacks. Do you think that could be a contributing factor to this, Mark?
Yeah, potentially. I think it's about the marginal gains, isn't it? That a lot of teams, you're seeing it a lot in the Premier League now. Long throw-ins have come back in. Arsenal love a corner. They love the drama of a corner. It takes ages for them to take one.
Very Everton, that.
The little fella comes out. The little set piece coach comes out, and it's all a big event. And they're not necessarily. I mean, you wouldn't call them kind of gimme easy goals, but they are getting the winner against Newcastle, the header from Gabriel. These are the things that Arsenal have decided to lean into, and that's what's that's kind of a big part of them, isn't it? And it feels like a lot of other clubs are doing that, and Liverpool aren't to that degree, and they haven't. And yeah, I think Slot's right in terms of you look back at the start of last season, and it did feel everything was coming together, everything was clicking, and maybe it was inevitable that it wasn't going to happen this time around with all the new signings. So, and yeah, fullback wise, obviously a very important fullback left the club, who was a much more of a creative force. So the players that are playing there now are not of Trent's level of creativity. The creativity has to come from elsewhere. So it would be nice, wouldn't it, if they the winner against Atletico came from a corner, didn't it? The Van Dijk goal. Those moments I think would be nice to see them getting more of, because they break open games. They can be huge moments in games. And you look at the game coming up, Man United are going to have the young lad in goal, the young Belgian goalkeeper who is untested. So it might be a bit of an old-fashioned way to think about it, but
Pepper his goal.
Yeah, slinging a corner in, get Van Dijk standing on him,
stick it under his crossbar.
Exactly. It might be an old way of thinking about it, but it's very Liverpool in the 90s, isn't it? They used to concede goals like that, but
these are tactics I can get on board with, Mark.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it would be nice to see, and it feels as though they're not doing that, and they're not getting the rewards that come with that.
Ryan Gravenberch is clear to play.
Yep.
Clear to play. Ibrahima Kanate. Did I say that all right for you?
Yeah.
Great. Hopefully should be available. I think he's trained today. Is that right?
I think they're obviously they're due to train today. And they have already trained by the time we're recording this. I think they're training at about 12 o'clock. So, as far as we're aware, they're going to be okay. There's only really Alisson Becker, who obviously isn't close. And while Slot was, again, didn't really want to put a time scale on it, I think it's a little bit surprised if we saw him again before the November international break. Going back to what I was saying before about the set pieces, Slot was talking exclusively about the Premier League, because he's funny, because when he talks, he just genuinely does kind of regard like this is one competition. Then when they play the Champions League, he tends not to really think too much about what's been going on in the Premier League and go, right, we've done this. So he's got a very clear delineation between the various competitions. I mean, the League Cup, I don't know what he thinks about that.
I'd imagine that's separate as well.
Yeah. That's
he's up nights thinking about it.
I think it's something that's obviously been bothering him, because if going back to the first thing I said is that he said that with Isak being now fit, you can now almost draw a line under what's gone on before and say, right, this is the start of the season now. We're only 1 point behind Arsenal at the top of the table. We're obviously still in the League Cup, which obviously you're very pleased about. And, a solid enough start in the Champions League. So there's been no real major issues as such, or damage, I should say. There are obviously quite a few issues. Well, I think what we need to see now over the next couple of weeks is, if you talk about Isak, can he start scoring some goals? You talk about Wirtz, can he start making contributions from attacking midfield? If you talk about the fullbacks, can they start creating a bit more, or even be settled just in the way that they're playing? And on top of that, you've also got a goalkeeper who's trying to adjust now to playing in the Premier League. They're not all going to get fixed overnight, but what you want to be seeing now is perhaps every week you can go, right, okay, well, Kirkes has quite clearly calmed down now and he can play left. Oh, Conor Bradley's had 3 games in a row where it looks like he's settled at right back.
Not been booked.
Not been booked. Yeah. And or Isak scored a couple of goals, and the sooner that happens, the sooner people like us won't be sat around just talking about the same things week after week after week, and we can talk about something else.
Well, I'll come on to Isak and Wirtz in a minute, but I know I've previously said stats are for nerds, which I absolutely stand by. But we were talking about scoring more goals and Slot looking for goals from other places, from set pieces and whatnot. But if we look at the league table, Liverpool have scored 13 goals, Arsenal have scored 14 goals, and no one's scored any more. 15, Man City. Okay. The problem seems to be more letting them in. So Arsenal have only conceded 3, Liverpool conceded 9. Kanate's back. Joe Gomez could play, I guess, but it doesn't. There's no real inclination that he's happy to throw him in there. I'm not picking that vibe up from Slot. I think if Kanate,
I think more of the problem for Liverpool defensively is, we just touched on the fullbacks, but also is the central midfield where Alexis McAllister, he's somebody who's been very much in and out of the team. Again, so that's another issue that I could have mentioned just before. He scored twice for Argentina against, admittedly, Puerto Rico, but the fact that he got through the 90 minutes as well, it'll be a confidence boost to him. And we've said quite a lot in recent years that international breaks a time where, fans and managers fear the worst, but this is one where perhaps Liverpool might benefit from it, because the players have had a bit of a break from what's been going on, 3 consecutive defeats. but players who needed some positivity and a boost of confidence appear to have got it.
I think McAllister's huge. I think it seems as though, the goal he scored against Tottenham on the day that they won the league, and then it seems as though he just stopped at that point, and he hasn't really been the same since. And I think it's a bit of an under discussed element of the season. I think how important he is, and getting him. I just feel the balance of the team looks better when he's playing, and he's playing well, and you notice him when he's not there, or when he is there and isn't playing as well as we know he can. So I think that's a huge thing. So hopefully those 2 goals can help him kind of come on, because he just hasn't really seemed the same.
Well, while McAllister was away on international duty, I'm sure he would have been keeping in touch with people back at Liverpool, and he would have been able to do that through a secure VPN. Which brings me on.
That's seamless. That's good. That was good. That was good.
Not bad.
You're getting better at this, yeah.
Yeah, which brings on to our podcast sponsor, NordVPN. To get the best discount off NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/bloodred. Our link will also give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, and the link is in the podcast episode description box below.
That was good.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed your little pause there for us to be celebratory, you actually being able to read.
It's good, yeah. My state education wasn't wasted.
Did you have skills when you were growing up?
Just, blagging and theft. Other than that, just got by. And,
any more people you want to offend? Obviously now Theo's not here at the moment, so you normally the 2-footer. You said this last time you were on.
We've got plenty of time. We're not even halfway through it. I think. So, we'll see.
Hold on to your hats.
We'll see. I can be self-depreciating in the middle of it. Just to cover my own back. Let's just take a little look at United then, because we've got to. I'm expecting them to come and park the bus. It was 2-2 last time, wasn't it? At Anfield. I must admit, I had to double check the score because it didn't feel like it was a 2-2 game because of how negative I felt they were last time.
It's a weird game, wasn't it? It was that game when it was snowing, and everyone thought it might have been off before the game, and it was a bit of I found it a strange game. Man United played well, but it was a bit like it was obviously Amorim was still fairly new, and it was his whole system and everything that he likes to talk about.
So they did play well, but they didn't play like Manchester United.
No,
if that makes sense.
I mean, and in the year before the 0-0 where they absolutely just camped in their own box, didn't they? And and that's possibly a reason why it doesn't feel the same fixture anymore. Is that when they do come now, they do seem to be clinging on for dear life from the start. And I think, is it 2016 the last time they won at Anfield, that Rooney goal. And they don't really come and go toe to toe with Liverpool in the way that I think that 0-0. I remember Van Dijk came out after it, didn't he? And he had a bit of a pop at them, which I think in turn upset Roy Keane, and so it was a bit of a back and forth. But we can expect them to do the same thing. I think we can expect them to come and try and camp on the edge of the box and see what they can get on the break.
Do you think the Liverpool crowd has mellowed a bit on United over the years?
No.
No?
No.
I don't know.
You sure it's not just you that's mellowed?
Oh, I've definitely mellowed. Me. Yeah.
The crowd has definitely not mellowed.
I'm a shallow enough for myself, but I don't know.
Like a tortoise.
Peter Schmeichel used to get hounded, didn't he, off
Neville.
every goal kick. Neville, Paul Ince, all these pantomime villains.
But did you not think that's partly because Man United were quite good back then and now they're not?
It's quite. It's not really very possible to hate like Diogo Dalot, is it? I don't really care about him. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's not the same.
No, I completely agree.
Other than, Bruno Fernandes is probably the kind of pantomime villain.
He's still flying the flag for generally.
But have you got any strong feelings about Mbeumo? I haven't really.
I quite like him actually.
Oh,
He's a lovely man.
If he was signed for Liverpool, I would be like, fine, good.
I think what we need is one of these new players, these new United players,
to become a baddie.
To become a baddie on Sunday.
But to become a baddie, they would have to do something good against Liverpool. So you would rather they were all Liverpool fans.
Lisandro Martinez last season scored, didn't he? He's quite a good baddie.
Yeah, he's not too bad.
He's injured again, but he won't be playing. But he scored and he gave it the big one, didn't he?
I'm worried. Too much needle's gone out of the game, and we need to bring it back a little bit. I think there needs to be get right at it. I mean, 4:30 kick-off on a Sunday, that's not too bad, is it?
It's not dark second half, won't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of like a quarter-final, business end of the Champions League type fixture, except it's a Sunday in October.
But I've also the thing is that Liverpool play United. I'm not having that, but you said there's no needle or anything. Still is. For United, this is their biggest game of the season, and for Liverpool, probably one of the biggest games. Of the season.
It should be the biggest.
I think
in my heart of hearts, it still is the biggest.
But I think in the context of the 3 defeats, I think that's going to help. I think it's actually possibly the perfect fixture to have because it's a big game, but you kind of know how they're going to play. So the onus is going to be on Liverpool to attack, and there's a lot of questions about the attack that we obviously all have. Isak perhaps being the main one. But how good will it feel coming out of there if they have won 2-0, 3-0, and Isak's got a goal? I think that's what they've got to be targeting, and it would feel like a big win if they got it.
Liverpool can't really afford to get anything but a win here, can they? Is a draw okay against United at home in this position?
Well, it was last season when they won the league, so it can't be that.
Well, they've
bad,
lost
really.
the last 3, so with that 1 point,
They
1 point in 12.
Well, they lost at Chelsea last season, and also one of the games was in the Champions League. So that doesn't count for your league points.
No.
So
I'm just going on form.
Yeah,
I'm playing devil's advocate.
I'm just saying they don't necessarily need to win. They could probably do with not losing.
If United win, they'll be 2 points behind Liverpool.
Yeah, but I think Slot said today he thought that United's start was probably a bit better than in terms of performance than their points tally has proven. I mean, I didn't see them against Arsenal. I believe they were okay up to a point on the opening day. Saw a lot of them against Brentford. I thought they weren't great in patches. I believe they easily beat Sunderland, which is a rarity for them this season, to easily win a game. Obviously, they got beat Grimsby in the League Cup, but they had half a team out. So, yeah, it is going to be interesting to see how United play it because, they can't afford to lose, but I don't think they'll be as negative as I think other people think. I think they'll look at it and go, we can have a little bit of a go here because why wouldn't you? Liverpool conceded, what was it, 9 goals? 9 goals or 7 goals? 9 goals.
9
in 7 games in the league and a couple more in the other competitions. So why wouldn't you want to have a bit of a go? And the way that United is set up in that 3-5-2 means that if they need to get players back, they'll always have 3 centre backs back, for example. So a lot of their onus is on the wingers. It's possibly that's where we always go on about these games is that whoever wins the midfield battle wins this game. But I got a feeling this one might be whoever wins the battle out wide because we saw a little bit of that at Chelsea, didn't we? Where Cucurella, which funny enough, Slot mentioned in his press conference today where he got asked about it and said, Cucurella said this, he said, we targeted the space in behind Salah. And he says, well, that's all very well. He says, and you can look at the winning goal that they scored. But if Salah's a little bit more on his game, we score 2 or 3 and then our gamble paid off. And I think going back to what I was saying before about the special moments at the start of the season, Salah was responsible for a lot of them last season because he was taking these chances. Now, it's not just down to him, obviously, but he certainly he's not, at the moment, he's not offering the same reward that he was last season when Slot was quite happy to say to him, we'll allow you to do this, that and the other going forward rather than always coming back. But the other complications, obviously, that Szoboszlai is not playing as the number 10 now to help plug some gaps, and Trent's not there as the right back to know what Salah's going to do and when he's going to go forward and when he's going to come back. Because that was kind of became an unspoken relationship, didn't it? Down the years on the right flank, they knew exactly what each other was going to do. But Conor Bradley's started 20 Premier League games in his career. Kirkes has only been at Liverpool for a couple of months. Kirkes wouldn't. It'd be weird if he was on that side. But Frimpong's only started one Premier League game for Liverpool, and that was the first game of the season. Yeah. So there's an awful lot for them still to work on. Again, there's everything that can be explained for why Liverpool are the way that they are, but what we don't know is whether or not they can actually find the right answers to all these questions, which is what Slot's having to work his way through now.
Well, one of the things he's going to have to work out is who he's going to play up front. Isak, we're saying now, is ready to be assessed on the same level as his peers. That includes Hugo Ekitike. He could play both of them, I suppose, but will he, or is he going to have a decision to make and stick with the sort of tried and trusted?
I'd like to see both at some point. I don't think this is the game for it, but I'd like to see that give a go. I just think after he said that about Isak, I think he starts him. I think to come out and say that about your big £125 million striker, this is the start. Well, does the start begin with him on the bench? And I think you can, and all of that might be harsh on Ekitike, who's done nothing wrong, bar the Southampton red card, but he's done nothing else wrong. But maybe the Celtic games are going, the amount of late goals there have been this season, Liverpool have been on the end of a couple of them. They've scored a few, but the last couple of games at Palace and Chelsea, they've conceded late goals. And I thought at Chelsea, the forward players that they brought on, obviously Esteval got the winner, Gittins, the winger, the striker as well, the Spanish lad up front. They were excellent when they came on, really good pressing. And I think you can sell it to a lot of players these days that, you will finish the game. So I think whoever doesn't start it, I think you sell it to them as like, oh, you'll be coming on to get the winner, or you'll be coming on to get the goal that seals it.
If it does go that way, it's a good way to bury bad news, isn't it? You're going to be playing against your former team in a few days' time, and you've got an important
get yourself
job
ready for that one. And I just think everything. I've got real hope that it does work out for Isak on Sunday, because I just think it would be a perfect kind of jumping off point, because it feels like everyone, and it's a little bit of international break stuff, isn't it? We've seen it here the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of kind of void to fill during an international break, and so there's lots of things that people like to say, and it feels like Isak has come in for a fair bit of stick already. But Slot's right. It has been a pre-season for him. It has, and it feels to me harsh to judge him on these first few games, because he's clearly not been fit. So if he can start this one, and if he can be the difference maker, if he can get a goal, I think that's a great jumping off point. So I'd go with him.
Florian Wirtz is another player under the microscope, as always.
I wonder where that was going. But go on.
He didn't start against Chelsea. He was on by half time.
When was that Chelsea game? Was that 2 weeks ago?
Feels like about 3 months
Feels like a month ago,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Yeah. I had to double check to see if
Took me
that
about a
was
month to
actually
get there.
correct. He won't want to be keeping Florian Wirtz on the bench, will he? You know what I mean? We Liverpool want to be positive. I actually said I would take him out the firing line for Chelsea, bring him straight back into the fold, and just say, look, team's got a few teething problems, but these are our top players, and these are players that we're trying to build a team around, and regardless of the results, we need to sort of crack on with that and hope that process works. Is that fair?
Well, it's £160 million player you would want to be playing in these kind of games, especially if it turns out, although I'm not convinced, that United will end up putting everybody behind the ball. You need a player to play Isak into positions where he's going to score, and that's why Wirtz got signed. That's why Isak's there, to get on the end of these things from Wirtz. And this is after the false start, as it were, of, as we mentioned before, Isak obviously didn't have the summer to train properly. Wirtz having to adjust a little bit to playing in England and a new country and all. You got to remind, he's only 22 as well. So from a human level, it's obviously, well, we know they get paid an awful lot of money, they have a lot of support, this, that, and the other. Most of the time, they're just left by themselves, aren't they? They're not in work all the time like us. They're always going in the office and doing stuff. So, yeah, there's that. But ultimately, if that's the case, then what's the one thing you're good at and you can do? It's play football on the pitch, wherever it is. So, I think now is the time where this next run of 7 games in 22 days, sorry, starts with United at home, finishes with City away.
Yeah. I have them listed here.
Yes, they got Brentford away next week in the league, and then Villa at home. And in between, they've got Frankfurt away and Real Madrid at home in the Champions League. And bang in the middle, it's Palace in the League
in the
Cup.
big one.
I've got this all written down, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 7. Well done.
Well, thanks.
I had to count that individually.
Don't ask me after that. So yeah, there are the 7. These 7 games are going to be important in seeing what direction, how the season's going to go. This time last season, Liverpool exactly the same. They'd had a good start. Then it was, can they keep the start going? They were playing, I think it was Villa again, funny enough. It was Chelsea. It was Arsenal. Chelsea at home. It was Arsenal away. They went to Leipzig in the Champions League. They played Bayer Leverkusen at home in the league, Champions League, and they played Brighton home in the league and away in the Carabao Cup, and they won 6 of the 7 and drew at Arsenal. And that kind of told us, right, well, this is a Liverpool team that's ready to carry on and see the league home, which obviously they ended up doing, and got to the League Cup final as well. This time round, it's more, okay, well, this is the new team now. Let's see what they're going to do. And as Mark said before, it's that he's drawn a big line and said, okay, right, we're going now. This is it. This is now where you're going to have to show exactly the reason why we spent all that money on, not on the individual players, but just as a collective, because obviously the goalkeeper is going to be tested now. You'd think that, he had a bit to do against Chelsea, but over these next 7 games, he'll have a bit more to do overall. You're going to have the fullbacks will be playing, whether it's Frimpong or Kirkes, because they're going to have to rotate. Bertz will get his games, Isak will get his games, Ekitike, I think he'll play against Frankfurt. They'll get his games as well. So this is now the proper test of the new look team, because they've had the whole bedding in period. You can't still be bedding in after, Frimpong joined in July. It's like July, August, September. It's 3.5 months. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of gone now. That's kind of gone. Yeah. I think, and now that Isak obviously was behind everybody else, the manager's come out publicly and said, okay, that's his adaptation period is gone as well.
It's a challenge to him, isn't it? It's laying down the law to him, and I think he's almost saying to him, you better ad-deliver, because there's Ekitike who's here and has been perfectly fine when he's played. So go and show us why we went through that months-long sort of chase to sign him, which dragged right to the very last minute, didn't it? So
which of course has affected both him and the team over the last 6 weeks, which we always knew was going to happen anyway. But he didn't sign him for 6 weeks, signed him for 5 years, and you could argue to a much lesser degree, Bertz is the same. His was 6 years, wasn't it? He signed a contract, I think so.
You'd like that one to move. You'd like that one to work out if you signed a 6-year contract.
Well, I think it will. I mean, I've said I think he'll be fine eventually, but it's just a matter of this season, because you've got players like Salah and Van Dijk who are very much nearer at the end of their careers than the beginning, and they're not going to have many more chances after this season. Probably next season, that'll probably be it. Certainly for Salah. So they need to start showing this positive stats, because it seems if you've been scoring so many late goals to win games and you've not been massively convincing, you've just been doing enough. Like we hailed their mentality saying like doing enough to win, and it was great, but eventually that gets you to a point where you start losing games. I mean, Slot did make a very good point. He said that you look at the 3 games we lost against both Palace and Chelsea, we went 1-0 down, but we got back to 1-0. So we were not having no problems there of being fighting in the games, and they were undone by, it turned out like it was 2 substitutes, wasn't it, coming off the bench for the opposition. And against Galatasaray, there was 2 penalties awarded. Both of them should have been, he says, both of them should have been rescinded. Ours was, and theirs wasn't. And you go into Galatasaray and get a point, it's fine, because I don't think they were particularly brilliant. And as we've seen for the game against Frankfurt, and I suspect we'll see later on in the competition, I won't be surprised if Galatasaray didn't win another game, to be honest. But that's just an indictment of what Liverpool were like on the evening, and there has to be a lot less. There's going to be games like that. There will be games like that, and there will be some more games like that over the next 3 or 4 months. But now's the time to start showing the other side and going, well, here's a glimpse of why we spent a lot, I said before, why we spent all that money. They have to start showing that. And I don't think they've necessarily shown that this season, with the exception of probably 45 minutes against Everton. And even then, how many of the new players started that
Bertz
game?
was on the bench, wasn't he? For
Bertz
that
was
one?
on the bench.
Isak was on the bench.
Isak was on the bench. The Frimpong wasn't playing.
Ekitike obviously started, just scored.
Keeper wasn't playing.
Kirkes
played. So there weren't many of them.
Is this Arne Slot basically saying, if you sign for Liverpool, it doesn't mean you've made it?
Yeah,
you've just signed for Liverpool.
I think it is, and I think it's like I say, I think it's and Bertz. I think the same is true for him. I'd start him on Sunday. I think it's you see all these stats, don't you, that it's Liverpool versus Manchester United is one of, if not the most watched game in the world. So these were the headline makers in the summer. Bertz and Isak. There was a big fuss made about signing them. Here they are, and they're going to play in this one of world football's biggest games. They're going to be out there on the pitch. So and then Bertz wise, I mean, maybe and there's the return to Germany next week with Frankfurt, that'll give him perhaps a little edge as well. So if he can go into that game off the back of a good performance against United, I think ultimately these 2 players, they're not going anywhere. They have to be backed. They have to be. So just get on with it and get him in the team and build the rest around it.
The German press are going to have particular interest in that as well, aren't they? Particularly Wirtz, but also Ekitike as well. Yeah. Wirtz caused a bit of a storm by not going to Bayern Munich. How dare he? And if he doesn't put up in a performance there,
but still, again, it's an international break thing, but it feels like everyone's had their say on him in the past couple of weeks. it is time for him to kick on. It just is, and I think this could be the perfect game for him.
We just mentioned Isak then. Sorry, there is a reason why I got my phone. I was checking something.
Great.
And I'll give you the fruits of my searching labour now. Isak's only got 1 in 8 against United, but we haven't really mentioned, though I did mention him earlier in passing, Mo Salah. Now, Mo Salah scored 16 times in 17 games against Man United. When you consider that when he first started playing against United for Liverpool, the game was held up as one where he just didn't score. And the last 25 goals Liverpool have scored in this fixture, he's either scored or assisted 18 of them. So while we've just been talking a lot about Isak and Ekitike and Wirtz and the newer players, it's Salah who could be the one who, if you can get him back up and running, I did mention him before, obviously, but if you can get him back up and running, this is the kind of game that he makes a massive difference in, and he just loves it against Man United.
Yeah, we have given him a little bit of an easy ride, shall we say, so far in this podcast, depending which way you look at it. But he's obviously got proven pedigree in this fixture, and maybe that might be a key to Arne Slot's thinking of trying to unlock them tomorrow. On Sunday rather. Couple of comments on the YouTube. So Richard Butcher came in late. He was injured. He said he missed the start.
Paul Ghost. Yeah.
Paul Ghost is injured. Richard, he's done his back in.
And Alisson Becker, and that's it. Jayden Danns as well, actually, because we knew he was out for a hamstring issue. But they went to the under-21s in the EFL Trophy on Tuesday at Crewe. They got beat 2-0. Played really well, actually. Should have won, really. I mean, the penalty that they conceded early on was ridiculous. It was never a penalty. But afterwards, spoke to Rob Page, under-21 head coach, and he said, Jayden's done his hamstring. He's going to be out for a couple of months. It's not a great one, but he's backed him to come back fighting and fit and firing. This isn't the first time he's suffered a bit of a nasty injury, so he's kind of used to it. And that's always a worry when you look at the youngsters. You look, Kay Gordon, who played in the game, actually. I think it's mad to think that he started a League Cup semi-final at Arsenal almost 4 years ago for Liverpool, and he's still within 20, and he's still only 21, I think he is. So he's still, because he was 17 when he played in that game, but he had an injury that was bad, and he was out for best part of 18 months. Basetic, he's still getting up to speed to get back into training with the first team. And Danns is another one of those who...
Endo missed the international, didn't he?
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah,
he got the hamstring injury, didn't he? But we don't really know. Canati was another one, but we mentioned before that he's going to be fine. So, yeah, it's going back to what I was saying about Jayden Danns. He's probably not going to be playing for Liverpool again until January, which is bad timing for him because he probably would have played minutes against Crystal Palace, could have played some minutes in the Champions League. And when you get into Christmas with Salah not being around, there's a chance there that there could be an opening on the bench because other players will be moving into the first team. And I actually think, he's somebody who could end up becoming a big player for Liverpool. He's only 19 and he scored 3 and 10 for the first team. He looks like somebody who knows where the goal is, and if you're a striker, that doesn't half help.
Well, he's certainly got the confidence, hasn't he? There's no and the character.
Yeah, and he's got physicality as well, which isn't always the case for players coming up through the academy. He's a big lad.
It's very disappointing for him, and I think with young players as well, if they have a period out, when you're young, you want to be playing as much as possible, whether it's in the first team or whatever. And he's got another frustrating period out now. It's just like psychologically, that's going to be a blow for him. He's going to have to sort of gather himself and put his feet up with Ghosty maybe for a week, and hopefully he'll come back fire on all cylinders again. But we wish
both will. Hopefully, both will.
Well, both will. Yeah, we both wish both Paul Ghost and Jayden Danns speedy recoveries. Kyle Stead in the chat said, "We've been so poor. We need a performance, and we need to win. A draw isn't good enough."
I don't think Liverpool have been poor. I just think they've just not been at the standards that they were this time last year. They're still second.
They've been below their own standards.
Exactly,
is what I would say.
If this had been the start of last season, you'd be like, "Oh, it's gone out, okay."
I would have. Unfortunately, my expectations were stuck through the roof by Arne Slot and unbelievably winning the Premier League title his first year.
It's the run of things as well, isn't it? So they've lost the last 3, but before that they won the first 7 in all competitions. So if you maybe were to drop these 3 defeats in amongst there and it was a bit more scattered around, maybe we're feeling a bit differently. I think it was just the 3 defeats and then to go into this international break, which has been horrendous because there's just you're just dwelling on what's gone before, I think. So it kind of becomes worse in your mind a little bit. So yeah, I don't think that there's been some really good moments in some of the performances. Everton probably is the highlight. Atletico Madrid first half especially. So
did right against Bournemouth as well. And
yeah,
we've
and what was a difficult game.
We've now seen that Bournemouth are actually quite good.
Yeah, and there were parts of the second half at Chelsea I thought was fine to get back at 1-1. There's a few chances there. Should probably have gone 2-1 ahead. Salah's missed a couple of good chances, as Slot referred to today. So, there's been green shoots in a lot of the games. Palace was probably the sort of, they could easily have been sort of 3 down at half time in that one. So that was perhaps the most alarming one. But I go back to what I said before. I think this game is perfect for them. I think it's a big game. It's against a big rival, and I think just being at home as well. It feels like they haven't been at home for a lot recently. So Anfield under the lights, all the cliches we know all about. I think it'll be should lead towards. I'll put it this way: I'm expecting them to win.
Well, this is the one home game they've got on a run of 6 games because they just had 3 away and then they got another 2 after this: Frankfurt and Brentford.
And then the next home is Palace. So it's not until Villa that you've got another home league game.
That's another 2 weeks,
which is like an 8 o'clock kickoff
Saturday,
on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the crowd. I don't think it's a great kickoff time, but the crowd will be right up for it.
Yeah.
So that's good news. Do Liverpool need a clean sheet?
Well, if they want to get a point, at least then, yeah. But I can understand what you're saying. They do need one. If they do need one soon, they can't just keep conceding goals because it just makes it so difficult for the attack and it puts the pressure on them. And then if they're not produced as much as they should be, then you can see how they've got to the position that they got to. Certainly in Turkey, where they lost 1-0, because it's very rare that Liverpool don't score. I think it's only the 5th time they've not scored under Slot, and the other games were Tottenham in the League Cup, Plymouth, Forest. So Forest is the only Premier League game under Slot where Liverpool have failed to score. So that overall, while he's talking about set piece and open play, goals, not as much of an issue for me as the defending. And it's strange because you pointed at it before, saying that's the thing that's keeping Liverpool behind Arsenal, really, the amount of goals they've conceded. It didn't really get mentioned all that much by Slot today, with the exception of he says that they're conceding too many crosses. And blocking the crosses comes from out wide. That goes back to what I was saying before about I think that the wide areas where this game might be decided, and it is going to be, as soon as they possibly can, get settled in terms of who's playing at the fullback, because Gakpo and Salah are probably going to do as much as they normally do to get back and try and prevent. Gakpo in particular, he's got a good engine and he likes getting back and blocking stuff. Salah's always just going to be Salah. He's always going to be like that. That's the risk you take. But if you've got fullbacks who are doing more than normal to stop things cutting into the box, and just now make it easier on the goalkeeper and the 2 centre-backs.
I think they're going to target that as well. I think, remember this game last season, Trent had a bit of a shocker, didn't he? He came in for loads of stick and really looking at Conor Bradley and saying, he's got a foul in him. He might get booked. Then you're going to challenge him. Frimpong is new to the league. On the other side, Kirk has taken a while to settle in. Robertson, perhaps not the player he was, although I think he's done well. And then, it's Szoboszlai's been playing at right back. So I think if you're and we know with Amorim with his famed system that he insists on, it does, as he says, it makes a lot of the wide areas. So I think I agree. That's going to be the key part of the game.
You've depressed me a bit on the fullback situation, if I'm honest, Mark. So
we'll win. I think we'll win. I think
Do you mean Liverpool?
Yeah, I
do. You
do.
mean Liverpool?
I think Liverpool will have too much for Man United. Liverpool. I think Liverpool will have too much for Man United. I think they do. They will. But there are going to be concerns, as you say, and if you're preparing, as I say, if you're preparing a team to take on Liverpool, that's what you target.
Any argument for Joe Gomez? You've got a very early mention.
You're very pushing on this Gomez thing. I think we should, when we come to pick our teams, should we do that now?
Oh, I'm going to do that very shortly.
Okay,
I was just kind of segueing into it.
Okay, well, go on then. Let you get on the segue.
Yeah, well, okay, well, we won't discuss that then. I just wanted to talk about Joe Gomez.
Makes me happy. I can't see Joe Gomez playing because he's played so little, and you mentioned that yourself. He's shown no inclination. Slot of picking him in these kind of games.
He might play one soon, though. He might play.
Well, he's playing Crystal
obviously Palace, but I think maybe before that. drop.
Well, there
him
was
in.
a game. Funny enough, there was a game in this run last year where he came on at half time against Brighton
It was
for
brilliant.
Canati, and he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
45 minutes, and Liverpool were losing, and it sounds a bit strange, but from right back he turned the game. For starting, he nearly scored within about a minute of coming on, header from a free kick, and the crowd responded to that.
I like the way we weren't going to talk about it, but we now are.
Yeah.
So
you forced the issue.
it makes me happy, makes me feel this way.
Yeah.
This is the point.
That was very good, that wasn't it? Yeah.
Amarin,
I
I've
enjoyed
got
that,
loads of this.
Yeah.
Amarin, as you say, I think he will target this area. This is the reason I'm mentioning Gomez, as I just think,
As in you-
spotted
As a
his
right-
weakness.
as a
thinking
right
about
back.
right back?
Yeah,
Right
sorry,
back, yeah,
I did
sorry.
not make that very clear.
That's because I
admittedly.
interrupted you. I apologise.
Well, I'm used to that. It's fine.
I'd be, if you want to move into the teams, I think I'd go with Bradley, to be honest. I think whilst yes, they are going to target that area, you've also got to think on the attacking side as well. And I think Bradley's come off the back of. I know he missed the second game, didn't he? But he had a good game for Northern Ireland. And I think he is the man in possession of the shirt. If you think about with Trent going, he was the one to step into it. Obviously, Frimpong's been added. So Boslai's been added, if you like. He's an option in that position, but I would go with him, I think, at right back.
I cannot hold off the tsunami of team selection any further. So without further ado, let's have a look at that. I think the goalkeeper.
It's Mamadashvili.
It's not going to be the time for Woodman, is it? Yeah.
I don't think so. No, I think
he'll play against Palace.
Yeah.
He may well do. Yeah. So okay, the goalkeeper's nailed down. Ian, let's have your back four.
You've
first.
managed to somehow talk me into putting Joe Gomez at right back.
But this is what open debate is all about, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I think what I would say on Joe Gomez is he's possibly the most underappreciated player Liverpool have got on their books. And I almost think sometimes his versatility counts against him because he's actually a good footballer. No one's ever... He's actually, technically a good footballer. The only thing he ever had wrong with him sometimes, other than his fitness issues, was that sometimes he would lack a bit of concentration, especially after he'd made a mistake, and sometimes he could just be all over the place for a little bit after that. But I kind of think now that he's got a bit older, he's addressed that, and you don't really see that. It depends what his fitness is like because he's hardly played all season, has he? And unless they've worked at something during the week, because obviously he's not at the moment in the England squad, although how they could have worked with it because there's been no one else there, but unless there's been some conversations had with Slot over we've got a plan going forward, I'd be tempted to play him now right back for this one. I wouldn't play him against Frankfurt, and I don't see it as a regular thing, but...
Has Slot played him at right back before? I can't remember.
He played right back for a bit against Bournemouth, actually, because Endo came on and played there, and then immediately went, this not working, and then brought him on.
I mean, how many different right backs have Liverpool had this season?
It's 5, isn't it? 5,
and we're only in... We haven't even had half term.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're on our, about 5th or 6th right back here.
So yeah, Gomez at right back,
Okay.
and then because of that, Canati, Van Dijk, and Kirkes.
Mark.
I'm going Bradley at right back, Canati, Van Dijk, and I'd go Robertson. I think you can maybe say to Kirkes, look, we need Robertson's experience in this game. He's played in all this fixture before. We know Kirkes has had, and Kirkes played every game. He feels like he's if he hasn't started, he's
Robertson
come on.
started did he start the Champions League game, Robertson, or have I just made that up?
No, he scored, didn't he? He came.
Of course, he started against Atletico
I
Madrid.
think he's featured in every game.
Yeah.
Okay, Kirkes has come on. Because even when Leone got injured in the League Cup, Kirkes came on for him. So I think he's played in every game. I think, but I think you can say to him, Frankfurt as well. So yeah, I'd go Robertson. I think.
So I walked in here with a back four of Bradley, Canate, Van Dijk, and Robertson. But I don't see how I could, reasonably sit here and speak the praises of Joe Gomez and not include him in the side. So my only drawback on that is he's having to tinker again with the back four. But
at least it's something that they've seen before a lot.
Very true. And I think what sort of swung at Mark is the fact that I do think Amarin is going to try and exploit those areas, and I just feel like
he won't be expecting Gomez to be there.
No. Just before, don't make sure you're not watching this, Ruben.
No big expectation of Gomez.
So I will go Gomez, Canate, Van Dijk, and I've not been convinced by Kirkes yet, so I'm going Andy Robertson.
Well, for the reason that you're playing Robertson is the entire reason I'm playing Kirkes. He's the future. He has to get used to these kind of experiences. So play him.
Ian Doyle is was going to say the ghost. Hopefully, it's not a ghost.
ghost?
He's
Not
the
yet.
journalist of Liverpool's future and the
Yeah.
journalist of Liverpool's past. You can just be the modern day.
Yeah,
Mark.
I'll take it.
The presents. Gone a bit early with the ghost
I've
chat there.
I've gone very early with any sort of Christmas link, but we can look forward to that in a couple of months' time. Midfield. Okay, let's
Yes,
start with you,
yes.
Mark.
Okay.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on defence.
Where
there,
is this
so-
going? Yeah, all right.
Who knows?
Midfield. Yeah. No ghosts in midfield. There's going to be Ryan Gravenberch is going to play because we know he's fit. You've got to play Szoboszlai because he's probably been the best player this season. And I mean, I was talking about McAllister a lot, wasn't I? And how I think he, they've missed him, but maybe you just take into account his international exertions and he might be someone who comes off the bench. So even though Liverpool are a better team when a fully fit McAllister plays, I think I'm going to leave him out of this one. So I'm going to go Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, and then Florian Wirtz playing as a number 10.
I'm going with the same midfield trio. McAllister's one of my favourite players. I don't think he always does particularly well after an international break.
That's what I mean, yeah.
And also, I think you need to be informed. Generally speaking, you need to be informed to be in this side unless there's an issue in said position.
It's just impossible
And I
to
just
leave
think-
out Gravenberch and Szoboszlai, though, isn't it? It's impossible.
I mean, and I think Wirtz is, as you said earlier, if they are going to park the bus,
And
they
I
need someone
think
who
if
can
you
pick
look
pockets.
at United, Casemiro's probably going to play, who is very slow.
That was very charitable.
Yes, and I don't think he'll do this, but he could put Bruno Fernandes back in there with him, which if he does, I think Liverpool will be delighted with. He might play Agate, who is also very slow. And so if you're looking at that, I think Gravenberch and Szoboszlai can run all over them. So I'd go with them.
Ian.
I agree with what the pair of you were saying.
Okay, we'll draw a line under that. Let's get up front.
Salah.
What have we got up top? Ian.
Salah.
Salah.
Three times.
Salah, yeah. Salah
Just playing three
I'll just get
Salahs?
Salah, yeah. Salah on the right, Gakpo on the left, and Isak down the middle.
Agree. Yeah.
I was very decisive and drew Isak a / and Ekatike next to it. So I
You
could
got
just-
to choose one.
You got
Side
yeah.
into
They
the
don't
right.
let you pick 12. You got to pick, yeah.
Yeah, it can't go with 12. No,
Yeah.
It's never been 12 players in a team at football. The game of association football, it's always been 11 aside.
Okay, I'm going to drop the curveball. Right, I'm taking Gakpo out.
Is it one of the options? Oh,
Oh.
he's taking Gakpo.
I'm taking
Okay.
Gakpo out. I was going to ask, has
Gakpo,
he
who's got a-
done enough? He's been a steady Eddie.
He
as
scored
always
3
is.
goals in his last 2 games.
Literally,
for
that's
Hull.
it.
God damn it.
Oh, sorry, he scored 3 goals against United in the past 3 games at Anfield.
Yeah, he scored last time out, didn't he?
Scored 2 in the 7-0, and he scored in the last season's draw as well.
See, now I've got a problem because now I look like an idiot.
I've got some news for you.
No comment. All comments are closed off on the YouTube now. Look, I'll do it anyway, just to be different. So it's a surprise. Ekatike is on the left, Salah's on the right, and Isak through the middle. And I would say to Gakpo, don't worry, because you can come on and finish this game. And you can play with Ekatike against Frankfurt on Tuesday or Wednesday night, whichever one it
He's
is.
brought this roundabout certain.
Yes,
full
still
circle.
might.
He's quite
Okay.
good, isn't he? Should we bring him back? Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like Joe Gomez, as a general sports editor, versatility could be my Achilles heel, but it's got me in the room. So I think that's pretty much us done for today. Let's just check you're there, obviously. Last time I said this, you weren't, Ian. So
We're both there.
you're there as well?
Yeah, we're both there.
Yeah,
on Sunday.
I'm
Half
assuming
4.
now-
Are you going to be there?
I am going to
Are
be
you
there.
going to be part of the crowd?
I will be part of the crowd participating in the booing and jeering of the opponents. Block 205 with all the old
I saw
men.
you there. I saw you there one of the games, didn't I, recently? You were
Yeah,
there?
that was in the
You were
League
different.
Cup. I'm adjacent to the old press box there.
Ian, are you going? Absolutely not. Came some response from the Everton supporters. Are you going to Manchester City against Everton? Oh, fair enough. We'll let you off. We'll let you off then.
Where's the stag do? The railway. What, just on the line? Or seem particularly safe? on Dale Street. Is it Dale Street? Ty Bar Street sounds
yeah,
close, yeah.
So everybody avoid that area.
Yeah, thank you. He's kind of remind. What the fuck you've been just thinking about stag do's on railways, but no, he has reminded me. There is a third line to this chat, which is predictions. So I'll start with you, Mark. I think
2-0 to Liverpool. I think a nice Sunday afternoon out. Goal in the first half, goal in the second half, and everyone gets to go home happy.
Is that a prediction or just an aspiration?
It's always an aspiration. Yeah, it's just what I want for life. Just a nice, boring 2-0.
Just a 2-0 clean sheet?
Yeah.
Ian?
1-1 and it's going to be dreadful.
Oh, my word. Okay. You've been so positive today as well. I thought it was me who's been the negative.
The season is long, don't worry.
Okay. I think Liverpool really need a win. I'm not sure if they've got the clean sheet anymore or not, so I am going to go a bit of a nervy 2-1. 2-1 to Liverpool, of course, just to be clear. And that concludes today's live Blood Red podcast. I've been host Richard Garnett. Thank you to Ian Doyle and the Welsh Paul Gorst, Mark Jones. We'll have all the coverage on the Liverpool Echo on Sunday, live blog and all the usual trimmings. We'll see you soon.
This is the Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo, giving you the inside track on all the big talking points from Anfield.